Loyalty and Mr. D had joined together with Loyalty's favorite girlfriend for an afternoon of sinful delight. It was a beautiful sunny day, with hardly a cloud in the sky, and the birds were, "Oh, let's just skip all that and get to the fucking." Loyalty's girlfriend watched as Loyalty sucked Mr. D's cock. From years of experience, Loyalty knew just how her lover liked it. She slid her lips expertly along his shaft, sucking it up to the hilt, and causing low moans of pleasure to escape his lips. After a fashion, he finished, and the act was concluded. Of course, Loyalty's girlfriend was busy masturbating to it the entire time. Next it was Loyalty's turn to be pleasured. Whilst Mr. D unwrapped a condom, Loyalty's girlfriend flicked rapidly at Loyalty's clit with her tongue. Moans of ecstasy soon escaped from her lips, and after a fashion she finished, and the act was concluded. Of course, Mr. D didn't want to waste his condom, so he resisted the urge to get off to the whole affair. Now it was time for the main event. Mr. D laid back on the bed, and grasped his big dick in his hand and held it in place. Loyalty's girlfriend got on top of him, and guided his manhood through the entrance to her cave of wonders. As her vagina began to swallow his cock, Mr. D felt waves of pleasure wash over him. Loyalty's girlfriend was also feeling the pleasure, as she lowered herself slowly onto the 8-inch penis. Loyalty watched all this unfold, as she fitted a strap-on onto her waist. She could hear the moans and excited squeaks and could sense the wetness as she fitted a large purple dildo into the strap-on, and secured it in place. If Mr. D could bring her girlfriend such joy with one cock, she couldn't wait to see what would happen with two. She squeezed out a generous portion of lube onto her hand, and rubbed it up and down her fake member. By this point, Loyalty's girlfriend was pounding herself on top of Mr. D. It was hard not to climax right on the spot, watching her boyfriend's large dick slide quickly in and out of her girlfriend's entrance. Loyalty had to act quickly. She grabbed her girlfriend, and pushed her down onto Mr. D's chest. Her girlfriend gasped, taking in a deep breath. Mr. D put his hands gently on her hips. Loyalty got into place, positioning the big rubber cock at the outside of her girlfriend's forbidden entrance. As the rubber cock began to stretch her anus, Loyalty's girlfriend let out another gasp, and Mr. D held her in place. Loyalty reached beneath, and rubbed expertly at the magic lamp of her girlfriend's clit, from which the genie was beginning to emerge, to grant the wish of orgasm. Mr. D gave a small thrust, and Loyalty's girlfriend moaned louder, as the rubber dick slid further up her ass. Soon, as is shown in the picture above, Loyalty had slid the full length of her large fake cock, as deep as possible into her girlfriend's rectum. Loyalty didn't have a real dick, of course, but she could tell just from her girlfriend's gasps and small whimpers of pleasure mixed with pain, that it would have been quite tight indeed. Mr. D took his hands off Loyalty's girlfriend, letting them fall to his sides. Loyalty's face contorted into a frown of concentration, as she focused all her attention on the difficult task of not arriving right on the spot, as her girlfriend let out a very quiet scream. After a fashion, Loyalty began to work with Mr. D, to bring her girlfriend to new heights of unimaginable pleasure. Mr. D jutted his hips, and shot his 8-inch dick deep inside her vagina, hitting the G-spot with each thrust. Loyalty held her girlfriend by the waist, and shot her rubber dick deep inside her rectum, hitting the G-spot from the other side. The two cocks worked together expertly to make Loyalty's girlfriend wetter than she had ever been. It wasn't long before loud ear-shattering primal screams escaped from her girlfriend's throat, and Loyalty and Mr. D were both coming right along with her. Soon the encounter was concluded, and Mr. D sat up. He pulled his cock from his lover's girlfriend's vagina, and Loyalty pulled her cock from her girlfriend's anus. Loyalty's girlfriend wrapped her legs around Mr. D's waist, and rested her head on his shoulder, still breathing hard. Loyalty removed the strap-on, and set it aside. She then got onto the bed, and spread her legs to encircle both of her lovers, She rested her head against her girlfriend's shoulder, and wrapped her arms around her. She gently squeezed her nipples with one hand and guided Mr. D's fingers to rub her girlfriend's clit. She gave Mr. D a slow hand job with her other hand, and Mr. D's other hand stroked sensually up and down Loyalty's back. They held each other in an embrace of love and friendship for a long time. Then eventually they really had to change the sheets cause they were like fucking soaked.